So this is our main directory where we keep all our files, like our Python files, and our text files, which we use as our prompts to ChatGPT. Like one of our prompts is what ChatGPT uses to act like a widow. Another one is a prompt it uses to generate Facebook posts. But we also keep a text file with a record of our previous posts that we made on our account, so it could make an appropriate post related to previous posts we've made in the past. And we also have an existing chat logs folder with 2 sets of chat logs for each user. One of them just contains like the messages ChatGPT generated and what the user sent, but also we have a separate text file with just the messages that our bot sent. And the messages we send are slightly different from what ChatGPT generated, since we made them more humane by editing them slightly. Now we use this message history to basically determine when to start parsing the data from the HTML page with the chat logs. Since if we don't do this, it'll just feed in all the previous messages from the past, and we need a point to stop. And we're using this file to determine where to stop. So this is our main Python file. Basically, after every 6 hours, it checks the friend requests and direct messages to see if there's been any new friend requests or direct messages, and it replies. Or after every 24 hours, it makes a new post. So over here, we're demonstrating how our Facebook posts get generated. So first, we ask ChatGPT to generate a new Facebook post for our widow, and it makes a post based off the previous post made, but also based on our prompt. And after that, then we log in using Selenium, and after that we navigate to the appropriate page to make our post, and then we post the message that ChatGPT generated. So this is a quick overview of some of the Facebook posts we've generated in the past. If you want to read them in detail, you could pause the video. Now, when we were showing off our profile, you might have noticed that we were using an image of somebody. That's actually AI generated, and these are some of the images we generated for our widow. We used Midjourney to generate these images. So whenever our chatbot code starts up, it basically checks to see if any friend requests have been sent. And this video is just us demonstrating that we were able to automate the process of accepting friend requests. Some clarification before we move on. Some of those clips were sped up since Selenium is pretty slow. But not only that, but most of those demonstrations we had so far were just on a normal desktop computer, but we had to port that code over to the Raspberry Pi, so some changes needed to be made, but we did port over everything to the Raspberry Pi, and the rest of the demos for the rest of this video will be on the Raspberry Pi. Okay, so we were able to port our code to the Raspberry Pi, and this is just us running the Raspberry Pi version of our chatbot code, and it initially checks for friend requests. There are no friend requests, so it moves on to the direct messages. And while we were testing our bot, somebody actually did message us, who actually was a scammer, in fact. Now this person, they're trying to add us on WhatsApp, and they're claiming to be a bank manager. There's more extended DMs that we have with this guy that we'll show off later in the presentation. But yeah, we were able to successfully run everything on the Raspberry Pi. Here's a more extended look at the DMs that we had with this user, and here's also the chat logs that we have saved for this user. As you can see, by looking at the ends of each of the rows, the bot did think that this guy was a scammer, so our scammer detection process is working. Now we also have a website. Now the website, it'll tell you a little bit more about what our project is about. But not only that, we also have some disclaimers, since we are walking on a thin line when it comes to our project. It is breaking some terms of service, and there are some privacy concerns. But all the scammers that we find with our bot, we are actually adding them to a database that is on this website. Mistakes can still be made, so we still have the option to request the removal of a name, and we'll investigate if that was a legitimate request of removal or not.